Our lead story tonight, one NDTV has been tracking, is actually about this new US defense report, which has a warning for India over this Chinese build-up. Vishnu.
Well, let's bring you the details of this. It's essentially a report that we've been tracking of the Chinese base in Djibouti, which lies in Africa. It faces the Indian Ocean. That's the area we are talking about. China, a US report says, it's a report submitted to the US Congress, may base aircraft carriers and submarines in its first overseas military base in Djibouti. What are the ramifications of this? What exactly does the US Department of Defense's annual report say? It comes just 4 months after NDTV published high-resolution satellite images of the base. We're going to be showing you what those are. This comes, interestingly, on a day when China has objected to US exercises in our country, India-US exercises. Well, first of all, this is China's base in Djibouti in Africa, which faces the Indian Ocean. It is now fully operational and capable of having aircraft carriers and submarines which are actually docked. Now, we brought you these images for the first time 4 months back, and now there is the China military report submitted to the US Congress by America's Department of Defense, which says the pier that you actually see, you can see it over there, is able to accommodate the Chinese Navy's aircraft carriers, other large combatants and submarines. Now, this is a huge headache for India, since the Indian Navy will face the possibility of a massive Chinese naval threat in waters off our backyard. Now, China's Djibouti base also houses fully armed Marines. The report says Chinese Marines are stationed at the base with wheeled armored vehicles, also artillery. So that's also a concern over there. Now, this all comes on a particular day when Beijing objected to the US and India holding war games in Uttarakhand. These are called Yudh Abhyas. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson has raised concerns and says these joint military exercises held by India and the US near the line of actual control, we're actually showing you images of those exercises, violate the spirit of relevant agreements signed by China and India in 1993 and 1996. But the Chinese concern seems strange, since US forces are nowhere close to the China boundary. In fact, as you can see over here, and let's bring up that map, Auli, where the war games are going on, is more than 50 kilometers, in fact 58 kilometers from the line of actual control. So unclear what exactly Beijing is concerned about.
Right, Vishnu, thanks so much for tracking that. We'll keep a close eye on those defense reports and, of course, Beijing's saber rattling there. But let's go across now to Priyanshi. He's got the latest on the GDP growth numbers out of for the latest quarter. Priyanshi, what are the big headlines here?
Well, Sonia, some concerning figures there. India's GDP growth rate has sharply slowed. Let's tell you how much and how to really read those numbers. Quarter 2 GDP growth rate is at 6.2%. It is down from 8.2% that was reported in quarter 2 last year. If we compare it with the last quarter, that was quarter 1 of the current financial year, the growth rate is almost half of the 13.5% rate that was reported in quarter 1. Now, what are the pain points and the points dragging the GDP growth? Number one, GDP growth is primarily dragged by manufacturing, mining and the coring sector. These are the only two sectors, in fact, that have witnessed a fall in the value that they add to the economy, which we call the gross value added. The gross value added by the manufacturing sector has shrunk 4.3% from the value that the sector added in quarter 2 last year. Number two, remember that this quarter the economy was hurt by global supply disruptions, high inflation across countries, interest rate hikes across central banks after the Ukraine war. So the impacts of that are being clearly seen, especially on the manufacturing sector. Now, thirdly, last quarter there was a low base effect at play, as the GDP was being compared from an economy that was hurt by the pandemic. So the GDP growth rate was inflated because of a low base. But this time, the GDP growth is being compared to a quarter that wasn't significantly affected by the pandemic. As you can see, last quarter was compared with quarter 1, financial year 2021, that was minus 23.8, which then went up to 20.3, and then it was 13.5. But this quarter is being compared with quarter 2, financial year 2022, that had a growth rate of 8.2%. So this slowdown was actually expected because of all of these reasons. The Reserve Bank's own estimate for this quarter was exactly this, 6.3%. And there are sectors that have shown growth as well. Private expenditure, fixed capital formation have both grown by 10%. The quarterly GDP value is now 6% above the pre-pandemic levels. It's 38.1 lakh crore from 35.8 lakh crore in the same quarter in 2019. It's also important to mention here that India is still the fastest growing economy globally, as China reported a growth rate of 3.9% in the July-September quarter, lower than India. The government has said that the figures reassure that the GDP is on track to grow between 6.8% to 7%. Let's listen in to the reaction.
So overall, real GDP growth in 22-23 is on track to be at the range of between 6.8 to 7%. Just as it happens when manufacturing sector picks up, services sector activity also follow in general. And this is the kind of positive bandwagon effect that will come through.
So thanks, Priyanshi, for that. The government saying this is as per expectations. It will stay steady, still amongst the global bright spots, but of course worries about the impact of the Ukraine slowdown. And markets, meanwhile, ended at a record high once again today, gaining for the 7th straight session. They gained over 0.6% because of low rate hike fears and low oil prices. The Sensex up, closing at over 63,000 for the first time. The Nifty ending at 18,758. So let's go from all the Sensex action to the political action. Ankit, the eve of voting in Gujarat tomorrow, and it's one state, but lots of political action. And Punjab action also happening as this Gujarat campaign is on. What's the common link?
Well, tomorrow is going to be the big day, Sonia. The first phase of voting in Gujarat is going to start at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And Saurashtra, Kutch and South Gujarat are the major reasons which are going to go and vote and decide their future. 89 seats up for the grabs. The big questions and what political pundits would also be looking at in Saurashtra is whether the Congress party, which has a stronghold in the rural areas, whether the BJP is able to fill those cracks of 2017 and try and make their position better. The BJP has got a lot of Congress turncoats this time, which they are hoping will help them in the Saurashtra region. The Aam Aadmi Party may be a surprise factor, specifically in the cities. The problem for the Aam Aadmi Party in the rural areas is that they don't have the same kind of infrastructure that BJP or Congress does have. But it is going to be an interesting day tomorrow, right from the morning. Some important constituencies like Khambhalia, where the face of the Aam Aadmi Party in Gujarat, Isudan Gadvi, is fighting the election from. Young Home Minister of Gujarat, Harsh Sanghvi, is in Surat. So there are a lot of Morbi is the constituency which people will be closely watching out for. Which way does it vote? Whether the anger of the bridge collapse is there or not. But like you mentioned, action in Punjab as well. The Chief Minister of Punjab was here when in his constituency we saw those visuals of the workers clashing with the police, the lathi charge. This is something, and I can tell you because that's on all the WhatsApp groups here in Gujarat, specifically the Congress and the BJP pushing it in the rural areas of Gujarat, saying that this is the real face of the Aam Aadmi Party, this is what they'll do for the farmers. So, optics-wise, not a good ending of this entire campaign ahead of the elections for the Aam Aadmi Party, with those visuals coming in and the Chief Minister campaigning in Gujarat.
So much for that, but also keeping our focus on Gujarat and really a case that has shamed India, and that's the case of Bilkis Bano, who was brutally gang raped, her young child killed. She today challenged her rapist release in the Supreme Court. Her plea seeks in the Supreme Court that all 11 convicts be sent back to jail, saying that it is Maharashtra, not Gujarat, which should have decided on their release, since it was heard by the Maharashtra High Court, saying that the Maharashtra government must decide this case. She also seeks an early hearing of a revision petition in the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of India assured Bilkis Bano that we will see when the case can be heard. And well, every battle now is high stakes, so whether it's for a state or whether it's for a municipal corporation. And today, Union Minister Hardeep Puri, along with all the BJP MPs of Delhi, addressed a press conference saying that they have a new master plan for Delhi if the BJP wins the civic elections. What's the master plan? Well, doubling the current amount of allowed floors. Will this work for Delhi, or is it just a political gamble?
3-floor DDA building can go up to 5 floors if it's demolished and reconstructed again, according to the Delhi Master Plan 2041, which was announced by the BJP 4 days ahead of the crucial Delhi Municipal Corporation polls.
Under the 2041 master plan to be approved now, more covered area construction will now be allowed when people demolish and reconstruct old houses. The floor area ratio, FAR, is the total usable floor area of a house, including the various floors, divided by the base ground area. With the base remaining the same, a higher floor area ratio essentially translates into more floors in a house. With a floor area ratio of 200, houses will now be able to go up to 6 floors, and with a floor area ratio of 340, houses can go as high as 10 floors. This plan is only for houses that are demolished and then rebuilt, and no extra floors can be added to existing houses.
As a planner,
Urban planners welcome the move, but with caveats.
I think it's a good move, and then in that case, more and more people can be accommodated in that same area. So it is actually, we are utilizing the land more than what it is today. But we have to have that safety nets, we have to have regulations.
The BJP says that the move will benefit the middle class.
अगर आप अपने घर को जो परिवार के बढ़ने से थोड़ा और बड़ा करना है तो डबल FAR, दिल्ली में एक FAR दिया गया है कि आप इतना 17 मीटर ऊंचा घर बना सकते हैं, लेकिन अब आप उसके जस्ट डबल बना सकते हैं.
People living in houses by the Delhi Development Authority welcome the move.
जो भी एक्सटेंशन करता था, चाहे फ्रंट पर चाहे बैक पर, तो उसको जो MCD को, पुलिस वालों को और कई ऐसे जो हैं लोग बीच में इन्वॉल्व होते थे, उनको पैसा देना पड़ता था. और अब जैसे आप कह रहे हैं, यदि ऐसा कोई नोटिफिकेशन पेपर में आ जाता है, यहाँ पब्लिसिटी में आता है, न्यूज़पेपर में, टीवी में, NDTV में, तो उससे सभी को हेल्प मिलेगी.
फ्लैट में वो देंगे तो अच्छी बात है, मिल जाएगा तो लेना चाहेंगे, क्या दिक्कत. हर कोई चाहेगा, कोई बेनिफिट मिलता है तो बफल का लीगलाइज करके गवर्नमेंट दे रही है, अच्छी बात है, नहीं लीगल करके देगी तो अच्छी बात है.
While the BJP is focusing on urban housing for the upcoming municipal corporation polls, the Aam Aadmi Party says that these promises are only to distract people from the garbage issue of the national capital with 3 towering garbage hills. We'll find out on December 4th which of these issues and promises actually stick with the people. In New Delhi with camera person Joseph, Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.
A day after she is briefly arrested, Sharmila, the sister of Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan, has spoken to NDTV against the Telangana Chief Minister and what she claims are his repressive policies. Though her brother Jagan has remained silent with no support being extended to Sharmila, today the Telangana governor came out to support her.
From October onwards, when you started your Padayatra, but without cadre strength, let's say, you have not yet made an electoral debut either. How much of an impact can your party have? Many people would dismiss you as somebody who is a vote cutter, possibly.
Why would you say that? It's too early to say anything like that. See, I've launched a party, it's been 1 year now. And if you check me out, actually literally check me out since 1 year, I've come a long way. I have gained the trust of the people. The people believe that I am their hope, that I am able to bring my father's regime back again. I have a great chance, I think. And yesterday's drama was all about that. It was me trying to tell KCR that his goons, the goons of his party, have actually attacked us, burnt my bus, run over my people with their cars, broken our windshields, hit our people with rods and everything. And I thought it right that KCR should see those vehicles. So the only attempt was to parade them before his house. And you saw the drama that took place. I got arrested, they towed my vehicle, insulted me, my people beat them up, left, right and center. There is no democracy in Telangana now.
So that's Sharmila speaking to Uma then. Uma joins us live. Uma, of course, KCR's party has denied all these allegations by Sharmila. But right now, the big headline out of Hyderabad is the questioning of very popular actor Vijay Deverakonda. Now, why is he being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate? It's usually politicians.
actor Vijay Deverakonda has in fact been inside this Enforcement Directorate office on the 3rd floor for the last 12 hours nearly, Sonia. He is being questioned with regard to his latest film, which was released in August, that is called Liger, and the financing and the payments done for Liger is what has come into questioning. What we understand is that a Congress leader had complained, and the trail could lead up to a very high-profile politician in Hyderabad, in Telangana, having financed this film, and that's the reason why all this is coming under the scanner for violations possibly of the Foreign Exchange Maintenance Act. Liger was a film that was largely shot in Las Vegas. It was in fact also a Bollywood debut for Mike Tyson, and it was made in both Telugu as well as in Hindi and released in August. It bombed at the box office is another matter, but the fact that so much of money went into the film, where it came from, where the source of the funding was, and what kind of payments were made in different parts of the globe, I must say, not just in India, that's what is being questioned, because Vijay Deverakonda had in fact even gone to Thailand for some training before the film. Interestingly, Puri Jagannath, who is the director of the film, Charmi, who was the producer and also happens to be an actress, they were also questioned about a couple of weeks ago regarding the financing, and now Vijay Deverakonda, who is in fact doing another film with Puri Jagannath as well, next one, Janagana Mana, he is also being questioned and he's yet to come out. Back to you.
Right, and of course you're waiting for their official responses as well. These are just ED questioning as of now. But Uma, thanks so much for that. And tragic news coming in today as India woke up to the news of Vikram Kirloskar, industrialist and automotive industry titan, who died after sudden cardiac arrest. He was just 64 years old.
Vikram Kirloskar's death after a sudden cardiac arrest at the age of just 64 has left family, friends and indeed India Inc. in shock. A stalwart of the auto industry, the man who brought Toyota Motor Corp to India and kick-started a major automobile manufacturing industry in Karnataka. Kirloskar was an MIT graduate and a fourth-generation member of the Kirloskar Group. His wife Gitanjali, his 32-year-old daughter Mansi and several Toyota Kirloskar employees travelled with his hearse in Bengaluru today. At the cremation, top business leaders like Nandan Nilekani and other prominent Bengalurians like Arundhati Nag and top executives of the Toyota Group paid their last respects. Kirloskar had no history of heart ailments. In a statement to the media, Manipal Hospital has said he was brought in an unresponsive state, put on ECMO and shifted to cardiac care unit. A CT scan showed bilateral lung aspiration. The EEG showed no brain activity. He was declared dead at 10 p.m. on the 29th of November. Many of Kirloskar's friends, business partners, even politicians expressed their grief on Twitter. A mechanical engineering graduate, Kirloskar joined his family business in 1982. He was vice chairman of the group since 1998. Though his daughter Mansi Kirloskar is the executive director of Kirloskar Systems, it is unclear who will take over his role in the company. Vikram Kirloskar will always be remembered as a visionary leader and a stalwart of the Indian automotive industry.
Well, in other news, why is the Telangana governor paying respect to an elephant? Because this elephant was truly special. 32-year-old elephant Lakshmi of the famous Puducherry temple, who was known for giving blessings to devotees, died after she collapsed during her daily morning walk. Huge crowds turned out for her final farewell, including the Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry.